Yes, I got that. Okay. It's not ready to go yet, just because I wanted to I'll wait another minute. But you're in the right place. So thank you for being here. Okay, maybe you see just the PowerPoint now. If you're like, I see all your notes, I know I don't have any notes. So you might see that format, but you don't actually see notes. Where are we? Can you see notes or do you just see my PowerPoint?
I see your PowerPoint, but can you go back for me, Sarah? It's Fiona.
Go back, meaning
Yeah,
in
go
this,
back. Yeah, go back to the.
this is the first slide.
No, I was saying like in show because right now I see like the next slide and it's not the
I
full
gotcha.
screen.
I gotcha. Thank you.
Let's see. Let me see.
I actually have an updated,
Okay, so do play from start.
thank you.
Why is it still showing like that? Okay, that's a little weird.
Okay, Frank's coming in. Well, thank you so much for welcome. Thanks so much for bearing with us. Thank you, Fiona, for helping me out at the beginning with tech issues.
Of course.
Hello, Frank. We're just getting started. I'm trying to figure out my tech per usual. And we have new members or new friends in the audience. At least they're friends. They haven't figured out what they're here for yet. Any thoughts, Fiona, on me?
No, I'm trying to see now why your screen is like that. I'm pulling up the PowerPoint.
Is this better? I'm gonna just go. What do you think? Are we okay with that? Okay. I think so. Okay. I'm thinking thumbs up. Jane, you're the only face I can see, so thank you. Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Feli. I see you coming in. My name is Sarah Fisher. I am with the Region 2 Regional Medical Library of the NNLM. This is the first slide, and it gets much more exciting. Thank you for coming, and we will start out. This is the first meeting of our third year together. So welcome to those who have been with Team ERPAC since the beginning, which is really only 2 years, and then welcome to potential new members to this meeting. I have kind of a standard slideshow, which I'll start out with. I hope that this is an okay way for you to see the agenda. I've sent you a PowerPoint yesterday, but I have updated it. So just to let you know, there's a couple of updates. So I will send that at the end of the meeting. We've got a packed agenda. Please feel free to put notes or anything in the chat. You can also raise hands or say, hey, Sarah, this is a casual an open meeting, and I just want to be welcoming to everyone. So this is the agenda. We're just going to look at it and go past it. Every meeting I open with land acknowledgements, and here I go. Land acknowledgements are an honest and historically accurate way to recognize Native communities. Presenting land acknowledgements recognizes histories that have been systematically erased. The Native peoples of this region include the Etowah, Kiowa, Santee, Edisto, the Natchekuso, and the Wasamasa people. And Region 2 RML recognizes the Native communities of the land on which we live and work here in Charleston, South Carolina. And we commit to remaining mindful and to use our work to support the health and well-being of all people, including Native communities. And next, labor acknowledgements, which are a new addition and really powerful. Labor acknowledgements recognize how historically much of the substantial economic development in a geographic area or industry resulted from the unpaid labor and forced servitude of people of color, specifically people from Africa. Region 2 RML acknowledges that much of what we know of this country today was possible because of the labor of enslaved Africans, their descendants, immigrant workers, impoverished people, domestic workers, and others. And we commit to remaining mindful and to use our work to support the health and well-being of all people, including those whose labor has been historically exploited. And finally, we have some committee agreements that we do all just kind of agree to. These actually do have notes in them. So, but take care of yourself. No one knows everything. Together we know a lot. Make space and take space. One mic, one voice. Understand the difference between impact and intent. Respect confidentiality, and be curious and respectful. So these are adapted from Glisson's guidelines from respectful GSA spaces. I'm sure you have your own community agreements in either your household or your work. Always feel free to include those in the chat if you'd like. And for those who may not be as familiar with how I figure into your workplace or my own workplace, here's kind of the structure from which I work in. You will see the top of the curly Q chain, that is a professional term, is the National Institutes of Health. And that is the nation's largest research agency with 27 institutes and offices. And curling down on that campus is the National Library of Medicine, which is the world's largest biomedical library and the producer of some of our favorite products and treats, Medline Plus and PubMed. Also, then it curls down to the network of the National Library of Medicine, which is the NNLM, and we are the outreach arm of the NLM. And there are 7 libraries and 3 offices spread across the mainland nation. And then we are Region 2. So we are housed here in Charleston, South Carolina. I am in my office today. And we are at the Medical University, the libraries. And Region 2 is the Southeast, and it is gorgeous. 6 states, 2 territories, and we have representation from a lot of those states and territories today. Lucky me. So this is what Region 2 actually is. So to find yourself on the map, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, South Carolina. The star is only because that's where we are located, the head office, headquarters, Tennessee, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So very diverse area we have, but we all do share borders. We share natural elements. A lot of us share water and coastlines. So a lot to keep us tied to each other. And then we have a collective in this group. Okay, this is what our work is for these 5 years of the NNLM. Confronting health misinformation, which you may see is in a quieter font. I say that because it is a political year, election year. Misinformation is just taking a back seat. So we will refocus on bridging the digital divide and environmental determinants of health. If any of your work touches either of these initiatives, let's work together. And this committee is actually perfect for at least the environmental determinants of health, which we will see play out today. I just sang. I sang for you already. Okay, here's when we get to talk to each other. I put an introduction because, as I said, there's new people. There are existing members or existing Team ERPAC people, and I want us to be casual and meet and get through that kind of high school or middle school or elementary school awkwardness. So I gave little introductions just to be easy. Chair would love to share or not. And I'll start so that I can be the first, and I can you can model me if you'd like or not model me. So my name is Sarah Fisher and pronouns are she, her. I am the community engagement and outreach strategist for Region 2 here at the Medical University of South Carolina Libraries. So my location is Charleston, South Carolina. It's on the coast, and it's a beautiful day here. Now, I got something a little spicy question, which some people who don't love to do icebreakers may say, but what's your perfect weather day? And how do you enjoy it? For me, I am a summer baby. I like sun. I like hot weather. You can be humid. I need to be maybe in near a beach or water that I can go into and come out of. And cold fruits, cold drinks, grilled fish. That sounds perfect. Then there's music and good people. So that's a perfect day for me. Okay, let me throw it to someone else. I'd love for you to go. If anyone wants to jump in, I'll let that first happen.
I'll jump in.
Thank you.
So, hello everyone. This is my first ERPAC meeting. My name is Fiona Washington, and I'm the program coordinator too. And I work alongside Miss Sarah here, and I just love her. So, my pronouns is she and her. I told you my title. I'm also located in Charleston, South Carolina. The icebreaker, what's your perfect weather day? I love Charleston weather, even though it is some timing, but I still love it. So I would think a nice spring day I would say I still like cool too. So late 70s, early 80s, and just a nice breeze because I love picnics. I am going to throw it to April.
Hi, my name is April Hobbs. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the internal title of Graduate Student Outreach Librarian at the University of Memphis in the Research and Instruction Department. And my perfect weather day is in the spring, somewhere in the 60s or 70s, with a sunny day, maybe a little bit partly cloudy, and getting outside and exploring at a local park, and then getting a nice lunch. That's always a nice day to me.
Thank
And
you.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to throw it to someone just because I interrupted. I'm going to throw it to David Peterson.
Hi, I'm David Peterson. I'm at the University of Tennessee Graduate School of Medicine in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm an assistant professor there, research learning services librarian. And I've been in Region 2 largely since 2008, actually, in health science libraries of one type or another. As far as perfect weather, I really enjoy weather probably in the 60s, 70s. It's dry. I enjoy hiking, getting outside a good bit. Now that I've got kids, lugging them around as well. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, David. Hey, how about you, Joyce?
Yeah, let me turn everything on. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joyce Shaw. I am she, her, hers. I'm the head of the Gunter Library at the Gulf Coast Research Laboratory at the University of Southern Mississippi. We're in Ocean Springs, right on the coast. I'm also a faculty member, full professor with university libraries. I've been here for 28 years. And yeah, my location on the water. Basically, we're almost like on a peninsula in this library, which offers some of its own challenges. I think I first got identified understanding this group and what NLM can do after Hurricane Katrina, where we did take 1.5 feet of water in the library. So I've received a lot of support in different ways from the region, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to give back as much as I can as a member of this group. And perfect day.
Yeah.
I just had a beautiful day. Not buggy. It's a buggy part of the world. It's a buggy part of the world. We did go to Bellingraph Gardens over, it's near Mobile, Alabama. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful setting there just a couple of weekends ago. Just missed the prime of azaleas, but I think that would probably be, strolling through a beautiful garden on a nice spring day would be my perfect way to spend a beautiful weather day. And that's what we did. And meals, anything without onions you put in front of me, I'll eat. So thank you
Thanks
so
so
much.
much, Joyce. Sandy, I know you have to leave us soon.
Hi,
There you are.
I'm here. Sandy Hannabrink. I'm actually Executive Director of Touch the Future, Inc., which is a 501c nonprofit that provides assistance during disasters for individuals with disabilities and seniors. We also are an assistive technology and technology organization and provide a lot of consulting with organizations for systems change to for inclusion. And see, favorite weather, anything that's not flooding or on fire. And all food is good. You can tell by looking at me.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sandy. Frank, are you up and willing to go next?
Of course, of course. I love the questions. Hi, everybody. For those that don't know me, but I think I know almost everybody here. Frank Fajardo, he, him, his pronouns, Assistant Director of the Medical Library at Florida International University, here in sunny Miami, Florida. So your next question is so easy, and it's a nice sunny day, not a cloud in the sky, at the beach with a nice book and a cold drink. I mean, yeah, there are plenty of beaches here. David used to live here, so he knows Miami, how it is. And of course, those that are joining us from Puerto Rico, they know, just, yeah, the island life, the coast, the beach, everything. So do love a beach day.
I concur. Jane, I'd love to hear from you. We would all.
All right. Well, I am Jane Canfield, pronouns she and her. My current title is Government Information Librarian at Catholic University of Puerto Rico. That ends on the 30th of May when, at the very young age of 72, I am retiring to pursue writing a textbook on government documents, among other upcoming projects, and continuing to serve on several committees that are of great interest to me. Anyone who knows Puerto Rico's history over the last few years knows that it's hard not to have become an expert in disasters in Puerto Rico in the last few years. Ideal day, Frank took it away from me, but I'll be a little more specific. It would be on Flamingo Beach on the island of Culebra, which is a small island off the coast of Puerto Rico, with a beer, with a good book, some snorkeling gear, and I would be very happy.
Well, good weather days. Sounds like everyone likes that, which is perfect. Perfect
go
segue.
next.
Oh, Faylee too, Kiefner. I did not forget you. Of course not. How are
I'll go
you?
next. Good,
you.
good. Well, my name is Faylee Kiefner. I'm on faculty in the School of Information Science at University of South Carolina. I am an associate professor. Our team have conducted 5 disaster information services research studies related to how local libraries respond to a variety of disasters. In fact, April is one of my research associates, so we'll keep on going. And our goal is to see if we can use the data collected to develop a framework with service guidelines and the professional toolkits, and these resources will be online free. We have received a grant from the university to develop these resources, and then LM Regional 2 is so generous to fund us to create and a website to document the summary of our research and some of the resources available about the topic. So once the website is ready, it will be free, available to everybody. And once we're ready, so I will let Sarah know, and please help us PR the use of these resources. About the perfect weather, and I have to jump to a little bit the different side. I like fall weather, and I like the beautiful red leaves. Probably October is my happiest time, and I like around 70 degrees. And I do like to just sit in front of those red leaves and just think, or had some simple food or a little bit of drink. That will be just perfect for me. C'est la vie, let's put it this way. So I have been with this group since the beginning of the group. So, and I hope that, and I feel it's my honor, and I also look forward to working with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Faylee, for rounding us out. Anyone else? Anyone want to go a second time? Just kidding. I'll keep on going. Thank you for charming me with your stories and letting each other know a little more about you and where we are situated. So you saw that we are missing Alabama, missing Georgia. I don't know why I actually did that. And US Virgin Islands right now. So Mississippi, we've got you, Joyce. So just thinking about it, and we'll talk a little more about, who's here and who's not, and that equity issue as well. But so because this is your first time or your first meeting for year 3, I've kind of updated these slides a little bit just to be a little more clear. So what can my office and we do if there's an emergency or something we need to prepare for or a response to? And so what Region 2 can do in providing support in mitigating and responding to disasters and localized emergencies. The definition of what kind of emergency response and preparedness and disaster, it's shifting a bit. What we've done is kind of include, made it more broad in the last 2 years. So we do have this Team ERPAC governance board, and this is an advisory committee for people who like to give their opinions and feedback and talk about preparedness response. If you've had history or you've done programs, just for us to get together and have a lot of brain power together. This team does help co-create a national webinar series for September, which is National Preparedness Month. You all are vehicles for us to filter out grant funding, and our grant year for year 4, the applications are open now until May. That's when we close. So we do have emergency preparedness and response money to give out. As you heard, Faley and April are doing studies, and we and the Region 2, they applied for emergency and preparedness and response funding from the grant, and they qualified for it. Another option that we do coming from my office is emergency communications for weather advisories. It's difficult because there's so many different things and pockets of the Southeast that we cover. So you all are experts on the ground for where you are and often filter information. And then we, as librarians, I am not a librarian, I work in a library. However, we are resources of information, open access information in particular. So let's continue sharing those resources with each other. And in particular to kind of the goals that we set forth. And let's go into more. Anyone have any questions? Please ask if I am not clear, if I talk too fast, if it's not interesting. I want to make this exciting and that you'll come back for the next meeting, because that's what I hope for every time. This is what kind of the Team ERPAC scope is. This is kind of what it has been. It's general, but you are a diverse group of experts who represent the states and territories of the Southeast and of Region 2. We want you to recommend programming to Region 2 related to preparedness and response. We want input and feedback related to preparedness and response. It says technically in our grant that we're going to develop a regional response plan to mitigate service disruption during and after an emergency. And this group and this advisory committee has not been able to figure out what that quite means. And that's okay, because we are doing so many other things that feed into kind of a regional response. Let's get people educated. Let's give people information and resources so they can be better prepared and they can think about more options, if you will. And very important is help to be more inclusive and equity focused. And we will have a discussion about that today. But wondering if there's any questions. It looks like everyone's still with me. Please, if this is, let me know if you have any thoughts along the way. So as I've welcomed you all, this is year 3 of Team ERPAC, and it runs a little different to our grant year, so that we are going into year 4. So those might not just move, fit perfectly, but I'll hopefully keep things clear so that we can delineate. But last year was year 2. So our year goes really May 1st to about May 1st, but we've added a 5th meeting in April's just to kind of kickstart our year. So our goals last year were a September 2023 webinar series that I already noted for you all. And that we offered, we had a small project team and had someone from the US Census introduce some tools. And then we had someone from the Extreme Events Institute down at FIU talk nationally. So check mark, meaning completed. Goal number 2, another goal we did last year was we have a Team ERPAC shared file where all of our notes are, and there are 2 locations for that. So we completed that. I'm thrilled that we completed those 2. We also had from IFLA, and we have an opportunity that's in the works. Really, Faley is driving this, and this is for an evidence for global and disaster health special interest group, a professional toolkit. And we do not need to have an update on it unless you know something. It's just something we've got an idea about, and we are waiting in the process to hear anything. Do you've got anything for us, Faley?
Yes, the evidence for global and disaster health SEEK actually has some changes. It's
Okay.
just because the previous conveners resigned in the middle of the year, so the new convener is still trying to figure out what's the best. So I will keep you posted. That's all I can say.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Faley. So that is in the works. And then we had 2 more goals that were a shared resource directory as well as a library status board. And that's kind of along the Waffle House Index. These are ideas that just we have not gone further. We keep on talking about them, but don't know if they're too big for us or just not as just not making it to fruition. But it does not matter. I'm thrilled with where we have developed thus far, and we're just going to keep on moving. But those give you an idea of what we're looking for. But this year, as I said, we're in year 3. So this is to talk about the commitment that you are making. If you wish to continue, of course, you can tell me no privately, and I'll shed a tear. But this is what you have come to learn about today. And thank you, Frank. Frank was a hard recruiter for this. So we have new people coming into Team ERPAC that we welcome, and we'd love your perspective on this advisory committee. But what your commitment is, it is 1-year commitment, and it starts now, really, but we are May 2024 to like April 30th, 2025 is the cycle. You have an interest in preparedness and response. Maybe that's because of where you're located. Maybe that's because of something that you love to do. You're interested in it. So the sector topic research, there are 5 75-minute meetings a year. They're all on Zoom, and it kind of follows this. This is one of the 5 meetings. If you come often to all 5 meetings, 4 or 5, there is a $500 honorarium for your commitment. That is optional. You can receive it or you do not have to. You can say, no, thank you. There are amazing networking opportunities with these fine folks and myself, and we work in small project type teams, and that might be of interest to you. Oops, hot dog. I went there too quick. I showed all my cards. Oh no, trying to go back. Thank you. Excuse me for my loose and quick finger. What my wish list for committee members are representation from the region 2. So from the southeastern states and territories that make up this region. And we haven't had experts from every state or territory in the years. So we definitely are looking for representation from Alabama, Georgia, Puerto Rico was, we have Jane here today. Thank you so much. And Ephraim and I have been in conversation who would represent Puerto Rico as well. U.S. Virgin Islands, we have Laverne Ragster, who's not here, but hopefully she will be at another meeting. But Alabama and Georgia, if anyone has friends, colleagues, you'd love to send me their name, I will do all the work. But always welcoming people from Florida, Mississippi, South Carolina, Tennessee as well. Tennessee was one of our, I recruited April Hobbs at the Tennessee Library Association, and that was fun to do on the spot. And David Peterson, we welcome you today. Thank you so much. So I know my wish list is you're passionate and diverse and excited. You do not have to be a librarian to be on this team. You like to give feedback or input, and you love to find ways to be more inclusive. So those are those stiff requirements. As I said, grant funding is open, and this is part of what you may be interested in yourself or your team, your department, your university, your neighborhood, church, community, organization. So we have funding open, and we have what you may be interested in individually is professional development funding. Do you want to go to a conference? Do you need it to be paid for? Let us know. We can do that for you. Applications are due May 17th. The professional development one is the easiest. However, there's health information, an exhibit award, innovation impact, and also emergency preparedness and response. So those are the links for it, and you will receive this PowerPoint in its final form. You've already received it in its draft form. But do you guys have, do you all have any questions? Going okay? I know it seems like a lot of information right now, and it is. Okay. That's okay. I'm okay being on the spotlight right now. Let's talk about funding, because this is going to kind of walk us into a discussion. You'll see that these are our awards for the last 3 years. Remember, we're going into year 4 of our grant of NNLM Region 2 grant, but we're only in the 3rd year of Team ERPAC. That's just to clarify. So, but you see there along the bottom, we have, whoops, second quick finger. Along the bottom is the state or territory. And so, and it gives you also the light blue for year 1, a darker blue for year 2, and the darkest for year 3. But you'll see Alabama only had funding in year 1 and hasn't had any in year 2 or year 3. But for example, Tennessee taken all the money and running with it, which is excellent. No, nothing is bad. This is not, this is just to show you kind of activity and also where we want to kind of focus our focus funding or focus programming or kind of focus this committee to see where we can help help with equity, help get funding into different hands and into different regions. So Alabama had only funding in year one, but we've got Florida, which has gotten equal funding in all 3 years, along with Georgia and Mississippi. You'll see Puerto Rico had funding in year 2 and year 3. South Carolina has, and I don't know if this, I don't necessarily know what the reasoning is. Why is it because we are the head, it's headquartered in South Carolina that it's getting all the funding? I don't know. And Tennessee, but just interesting kind of data to show you how this works for us. And finally, the US Virgin Islands, which has year 1 and year 2 funding, but not year 3 funding. So does that give you a little clue? Do you have any questions about that? Kind of peeling back the layers or the curtains of the NNLM Region 2 and looking for you to help us. These are what was funded in year 3, and it may be difficult for you to, I don't know if it's easy to read or not, but I did note that that 5 of these awards are for emergency preparedness and response. The Emergency Preparedness Award, too, is up to $20,000. Of course, you do not have to use 20,000. It can be 15 and some change, if you will. But Georgia Southern had a improving emergency preparedness practices among students in South Georgia. Health Communications Institute in Puerto Rico was strengthening the emergency exposed to disasters. And when our team was in Puerto Rico in December, I did a site visit with Health Communications Institute and sat in on one of their trainings. It was excellent to see. So other ones are University of South Carolina, creating a sustainable and shareable disaster information services repository website. And the University of Tennessee also has UT Ready, which is utilizing drone tech for readiness and emergency assistance. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of kind of where some of the emergency response and preparedness fundings went for last year, and what we're looking for to go into year 4, year 5, and then what should we do for when we reapply for regional medical library status. Any questions? Is this surprising, exciting information? Okay, let's see. This is the discussion. I know it's what we've been all waiting for. So we don't have Dr. Laverne Ragster, who is our US Virgin Islands rep here today, which is disappointing for me because I want to talk about something that she is incredibly passionate about and something that we're wondering if Team ERPAC would be a good place to chew on, if you will. And this is an open conversation. This is not supposed to be charged in any way. It has been brought to our attention, how to say this, not that it has been brought to our attention, but we've seen that the there is definitely a distance between mainland states and the island territories. We know there's an additional difference between the island territories, the size of them, infrastructure, and want to see how we can bridge some of these relationships and make it, make the communication, maybe have a more equity focused goal for Team ERPAC to work on. And so in thinking of the NNLM initiatives as well, remember misinformation, which we're putting on the back seat, but the digital divide, bridging the digital divide, and environmental determinants of health, which is easy to work with. But we know that the climate crisis, climate justice, climate resilience, climate change, the climate is an issue, in particular for the Southeast and in particular for island communities. And that's how I will state it. So I've included here a couple of different, I would say, NNLM Region 2 approved links to concepts of climate. The NIH has a climate change and health initiative, which is new. And it is climate change and health impacts, which leads to, the environmental determinants of health. Medline Plus has a definition. PubMed, I included just one article, and the World Health Organization as well. And so I was wondering, and last week or at our last meeting, Laverne had said climate justice and climate change. And then someone else had peeped in, what is the difference? Or, how do we delineate these terms? And that was what I was hoping to kind of get from you today, and wonder if you understand the terms, or if we can help each other kind of define them, in order to move forward and to figure out some of our goals for year 3. Does that make sense? And does that equation, is that a good equation? Thumbs up, chat, reactions from anyone?
Actually, I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm not exactly sure how all of these climate terms are defined, but without any doubt, here in Puerto Rico, changes in climate are fueling not just worse hurricane seasons, which is the obvious, but changes in where rainfall is happening and where it's not. My husband, who's a biology professor, is currently working on a proposal that will have to do with helping coastal and poor communities figure out how to better cool their homes without air conditioning. And very few people here are privileged enough to have the kind of air conditioning that you are used to in the United States. Our energy costs are insane. So yes, this makes a great deal of sense to me. And particularly in the environmental determinants of health, there is little doubt that the marginalized communities in Puerto Rico, and we have more than 50% of Puerto Rico's population which lives below poverty level. that means that anytime there is any crisis that involves the environment, whether it's been hurricanes or earthquakes or flooding, it impacts very heavily people who are already unprepared for just daily living in reality. So I think that makes it makes sense to me.
Thank you, Jane. Great perspective. Well, luckily, we've got silent partners in crime who have flooded the chat. I got your climatecrew.org, the resilience hubs, yes. Joyce, thumbs up, yes, sounds good, yes, sounds good. That's great. Okay. I'm thrilled that I was able to establish that. So I don't think we need to talk about what the difference in the terminology, because I got you all on board. Wow. I mean, it just is amazing to me, the power I have sometimes. Did anyone else, does this? So this is one of my thoughts, and wondering if you think about this too. How can, instead of using climate change, this is, you know, how people get, climate change is it's a buzzword, it's a hot buzzword. So they don't, it often infuriates people. So instead, I've changed the order of it to be like climate crisis, climate justice, climate resilience, and then climate change. Like, we are changing the climate because we're in climate crisis, but then we do climate justice, and then we're, you know, building climate resilience, and then we have climate change. And I meant that in the good way, the antithesis of the definition. But that was me in my head. So there, I invited you back in. Goal setting for year 3. Now, I already put 2 up in there, so this makes it even easier. The September 2024 preparedness webinar is happening no matter what. That happens every year. The first year we had, we basically had the first NNLM preparedness webinar, and we had 3 excellent speakers. So we had a panel. Last year we had 3 weeks of speakers. This year, I'm working with a couple of other other NNLM colleagues in other regions to see what they're going to bring in. And Region 2 and Team ERPAC, we think of something that would be interesting, or experts who have something interesting to share and teach the audience. So that's already a given. And Faylee, I put the evidence for global and disaster health up there anyway, just because it's in the works. So I see you have your hand up, Faylee. Yeah, what do you have for us?
One thing that I wanted to talk a little bit is about the climate justice. And I think not many information professionals know a lot about this. Personally, I don't know. And I think this has been started to be discussed in our community. Perhaps we could find guest speakers, or find an expert to help us better understand about it. And also, maybe we can offer a webinar about it. And I think, you know, in the areas covered in the Region 2, really serve a very diverse community. If this topic is very important to the communities we serve, and we needed to learn first. So, and then we are able to promote it and also help other colleagues learn about it so they are able to better serve their communities. That's just a thought. Thank you.
Gotcha, Feli. And yes, that was indeed what happened at the last meeting. And this is not for those who may be joining for the first time or were not able to make the last meeting. This was not like a a dramatic ending or anything. This is how we work. We're just kind of a continuation of a conversation. And Feli, I agree with you, and that has been in my brain, but I needed you to be able to verbalize that. Does anyone else have a feeling on understanding climate crisis, or do you think you know someone who does understand climate crisis? And maybe not, and maybe I'm supposed to be the expert, because I gave all the resources to the NIH and Medline Plus. But I too want to be, I did not understand. I looked all of these terms up just to kind of figure it out, but I do not feel strong speaking about them. Thank you so much. Well, what do you think then? Is that maybe the first, a goal really, and like a climate goal, or sorry about that. Understanding the climate. I just are there any near you, wherever you are there any things that you've heard about, projects, programs, resources, about how climate is impacting a community where you are? I mean, we could probably say this easily. Okay. Well, I guess I've got kind of my work cut out for me, meaning that I need, ooh, I see you, Joyce. Thanks for your hand. It's more that our utilities can't handle the climate crisis in Memphis. That's interesting. Because when I was speaking to Jane earlier, who's in Puerto Rico, the energy costs there are just extreme. Take it over, Joyce.
Well, what I wanted to mention, and I can send y'all a link if you want to, you were asking if we had any familiarity or knowledge of some experts in this. We did a science cafe back in September 2023, how to talk about climate change, strategic framing for climate communication. I can try to see. We actually did, and I do have a link to that somewhere. I could send it to everybody. It was a 45-minute talk by a person who's working with in the field of climate change and communication. So, but a lot of it is how there's so much misunderstanding about it. This was a great program that we had, and we had I'm trying to think, that was an in-person and virtual, probably 15 in the room and another 20 or so online that participated in this. So if we are going to be looking for somebody that wants to talk about that, if we want somebody to talk about the best ways or, some best practices for communicating climate change issues, I can help link us up with somebody. I thought that's kind of what you were asking, but I could have misunderstood.
Absolutely.
you.
I don't know how to be more, I mean, I can be more direct. Thank you, Joyce. And you know what? I can send out that link to everyone. You don't have to. You can send it to me and I'll just blast it out if that's cool. Thank you. The chat has been wild. April, it's more that our utilities can't handle the climate crisis in Memphis. And Jane, not only our energy costs, but inability to handle energy needs and slow recovery time after any hurricane, earthquake, or other crisis related to climate. And I mean, we're a small team, and this is not meant to take an inordinate amount of your time. And I'm very cautious of that. And so I think getting us on the same page about it will help clear up that misunderstanding, Joyce. I think I expressed that kind of misunderstanding as well. I'm gonna, if anyone would excuse me, throw me a thumbs up if you're excited to have that. To learn more, if you too feel maybe you're not as strong as you could be about talking about the climate, and we want to talk in a resourceful way, not in a punitive way, of course, but how can we help, and how can we work with communities, and especially in equity work with those communities. And hopefully we'll have, this will be a continued conversation probably for next time, as I feel the goal setting will be, and I'm comfortable if we have 3 goals a year. Is everyone else? This is not meant to have, I'm okay that last year we had 2 full check marks and still working on other things. I feel great about that. And so does my time. 3 is fine. Thank you. 3 is my favorite number. Okay. So year 3, maybe 3 goals. And I think the climate one might be a whopper too. So, but how I suggest that we might work on these too is that, thank you, Jane, is that we work in small working groups or small project teams for this. Because that worked. I thought that worked really well for how we were able to get 2 expert speakers for the webinars last year. And so think about this and think of maybe what you could bring if there is anything that is, if you want to be part of the preparedness webinar, that's meaning that we're talking about who do you know, maybe a connection who is an expert. What I want to hear is an expert in region too. So this is talking about someone that is kind of like our regional, we want to showcase them. So a regional 2 showcaser who has an excellent topic, excellent research area. They're doing cool work, can be a librarian, cannot be a librarian, but someone who will have an excellent presentation for preparedness. And it's a 45-minute presentation. So think about that for the September being part of that group. Also, we have this evidence for global and disaster health professional toolkit that we're awaiting Faylee's information. And I think the third goal is going to be some kind of climate influenced one. There's a bunch of more chitter chatter, and I mean that in the most positive way, in the chat, which we will record this time around, because that will be a third working group, the climate. How do you feel about that? Thumbs up. I got a presenter project. Thank you, Joyce. Perfect. I got a perfect. Thank you so much for that feedback. Using strategies. I like it. I'll take that. I like the climate goal, Jane. And I don't think I can just add it into here in number 3, but we will, and we'll break that down in the next meeting to figure out what that looks like a little more. I think that makes total sense. I think for me, it makes me feel great for this meeting. And I think based on the chat and based on your input today, I think you think that feels good too. I got another Facebook, U.S. Marine Education. Thank you for all of these resources in the chat. This is it. This is how I do meetings and our committee meeting. This is at 2:06, so we have time left in our schedules. And our next meeting will be on June 11th. I hope that's an okay time for you. I will send out, I'll send out an email with updated notes which will have a recording of this meeting, which will have all of the Zoom discussion and perhaps some things of what to think about for next time. Because so that I can send you all away with something to chew on and so that you can use your big, beautiful brains and bring them back on June for further discussion about what Team ERPAC can do. And ERPAC stands for Emergency Response Preparedness Advisory Committee. So welcome to Team ERPAC, year 3. I am absolutely thrilled to have you all. And welcome to everyone who is making a return and to those who are new for this first meeting. That's all I've got. That's all she wrote. That's all Sarah wrote. Happy to be here. Thank you so much in the chat. This is it. So the last is thank you. And finally, let's connect. If you don't know us, we are on Facebook and LinkedIn. That's Region 2. And if you are need to email us, region2@nnlm.gov, and that dumps you into our lib answers, and that floats out to us. So that's how I work, and I am thrilled that you were here today, and I wish you a wonderful week. Ciao.